Hello friends, KitaDoll here. Everybody knows about crabs by now, right? They were invented in 2016 by Concerned Ape, and these mythological sea creatures are essentially armored water spiders with scissors for hands. They also serve as the primary antagonist in the beloved farming simulator, Stardew Valley. Wait a second. The scientists are telling me that these things are real? Yuck. Well, whether it's in Stardew Valley or in the real world, I can only assume that we want to eradicate these things once and for all, and we're probably going to need to get our hands on a good way to trap them. In this video, I'll be taking a deep dive with the scientists into crab pots to find out just how good they are after the 1.6 update. We'll be looking at the effects of different baits and professions and hopefully find out how to maximize gold per pot. In addition to saving the world from these terrifying creatures, maybe there's even some good money to be made along the way. If you find this video interesting, please like and subscribe for more like this in the future, and let me know if there's any other topics that you'd like to see. With that being said, let's get into it. The crab pot is a piece of fishing equipment that can be purchased or crafted after reaching level 3 fishing. It costs 1,500 gold from the fish shop, or it can be made with 40 wood and 3 iron bars, which would cost about 3,100 gold buying materials in Year 1. The trapper profession reduces the crafting cost to 25 wood and 2 copper bars, which drops the cost to 1,300 gold with bought materials. You can also get a few pots as a reward for the crab pot bundle, but that takes a little luck scavenging on the beach and maybe getting a drop from a rock crab in the mines if you don't already have a crab pot to get some of the donations. Crab pots are placed in the water near shorelines, and they'll catch fish or trash each day as long as they're baited. Harvesting a crab pot will award 5 fishing experience regardless of what was caught, so they can be a great way to quickly and consistently level up your fishing. In Update 1.6, there were a few changes that affect the crab pots. Clams now count as fish, there's an increased chance of catching junk on the beach farm pond, wild bait, deluxe bait, and targeted baits have an effect on crab pot catches. A new book called The Art o' Crabbing teaches you a power that gives crab pots a 25% chance to double items. This is available as a reward from the Squid Festival and is sometimes available from the bookseller for 20,000 gold. I would definitely say to make an effort to pick this up at the Squid Fest if you haven't bought it from the bookseller by then. 20,000 gold is pretty steep depending on how crazy you're going with crab pots, especially when you know that you can get it for free later. There's a 0.75 second window after harvesting crab pots where it can't be removed. Accidentally picking up crab pots after harvesting can be really annoying, so this little quality of life improvement will make crab pots much more appealing. There are some ancillary equipment like bait makers that will play into crab pot cost and productivity too. Okay, so before we get into the numbers, I just want to clarify a few assumptions. First, when it comes to trash, we assume that we recycle everything we catch and sell it. It's not the most efficient use of these products by any means, but it is the only way to assign concrete values. This is also true for crafted bait. The cost per bait will be equal to the sell price of raw materials or the sell price of cooked and processed fish in the case of targeted bait. For calculating gold per crab pot, we'll assume any low-value fish are cooked into sashimi. Once we factor in the angler profession, we'll also put the fish smoker on the table using Year 2 coal prices. But until then, we'll assume that it's generally just not worth it, since you'll probably want angler and artisan professions, which may not come until later. With all of the bait options available in 1.6 for crab pots, you might be wondering what type you should use. Well, the scientists have crunched some numbers. There's a lot to unpack, but I'll try to go over all of the key takeaways. Let's start with the catch probabilities for freshwater and saltwater crab pots. As you can see, the mariner profession drops the chance to catch trash down to 0, but all of the special baits also decrease the chance for trash. This is a key benefit in the calculations for gold per pot, but keep in mind that the trash products might be more valuable if you use them instead of selling. Some of the most drastic changes to probabilities actually come from the targeted baits, which increase the odds of catching the target fish while lowering the chance to catch trash. In particular, mussel bait has the lowest chance for trash in saltwater, and in freshwater, periwinkle bait reduces the total chance for trash down to just 10%. Targeted baits will require a bait maker, which is available at level 6 fishing. Once they become available, they are a solid choice for priming your crab pots and should be able to supply all of your crab pots, only using catches from those crab pots. and given the 10-minute processing time it takes to make 5 to 10 bait, you shouldn't need too many bait makers even with tens or hundreds of crab pots. Deluxe bait has one additional advantage. It increases the quality of the fish caught to silver, which is essentially a 25% boost to fish value. Keep in mind that any silver quality fish with less value than 75 gold will be turned into sashimi anyway. So the quality factor is going to be moot for everything other than lobsters and crabs, unless you take the angler profession. More on that one in a bit. Deluxe bait can be bought for 100 gold, which is a non-starter for me. It can also be crafted using the standard bait and moss or collected daily from a deluxe worm bin, which is crafted from a standard worm bin and, you guessed it, moss. Okay, so based on these catch rates, what do the financials look like and what is optimal? Here are the numbers for gold per crab pot for the baits and professions that affect probabilities. The numbers were actually a bit of a surprise to me. The various baits make a difference, but all of them end up being pretty similar for gold per crab pot, with all saltwater profits being between 54 and 63 gold, and all freshwater profits being between 50 and 62 gold. Of course, when you get the art of crabbing, the ranges go up to 71 to 82 gold per saltwater pot and 66 to 79 gold per freshwater pot. The lure master profession does not provide a whole lot of gain in profits since it essentially is just saving 5 gold per catch. It actually loses out to some targeted bait options just because they give the option to increase the chance of more valuable catches. The mariner profession is the winner in this case, beating the next best option by 12 to 28% depending on the location of the crab pot. With the deluxe bait and the mariner profession, we can get up to 109 gold per crab pot. Unfortunately, we're not looking any deeper into the mariner profession for a couple of reasons. If you go with the mariner profession, it means that you can't pick the angler profession, which is a much better moneymaker for most fish, and it actually is almost on par with mariner for moneymaking with crab pot fish as well. Let's take a look at those numbers. As you can see, the max profits for most different types of baits are all pretty close to 100 gold per pot with the art of crabbing bonus. This is all assuming the bare minimum value for recycled goods as well. If you have the artisan profession, the cloth from recycling will be worth 40% more, and the value of coal from recycled driftwood goes from 15 gold to 250 gold if you're using it in your fish smoker or furnace. At this point, angler firmly takes the lead over mariner for crab pots as well. With the range of roughly 50 to 115 gold per day per crab pot, how do they compare to some of the other plants or farm equipment? A starfruit wine cask is going to net you about 56 gold per day. An indoor strawberry plant will put out about 40 gold per day with the tiller profession, and break 100 gold per day when you put it into preserves jars. Ancient fruit in a keg will average about 330 gold per day over the long run, but that's one of the best farming moneymakers there is. Mushroom logs can reach almost 450 gold per day if they're set up right. Check out my video on mushroom log formula updates if you'd like to learn more about those. These are just a few examples, but you can see that the crab pot comes out as kind of middle of the road for daily profits. Okay, so knowing all of this, what is the best way to go about catching crabs and other tiny aquatic monsters? First off, I'd like to steer clear of both lure master and mariner professions. Angler will beat them out for money in the long run, and the money-making benefits for regular fishing are huge. If you absolutely hate fishing and plan to never do it, and you also hate recycling, but you still want to use crab pots, I guess you could make a case for going the mariner route. Lure master is such a monetary hit for the sake of laziness, it's really hard to justify. I probably wouldn't recommend the trapper profession either. If you're making tons of crab pots early on, it could make sense, but the materials aren't too demanding either way. Even at 1,500 gold from the fish shop, it isn't all that bad, and worst case, it'll pay for itself in less than 30 days. At that point, it's a question of how bad you want the angler profession and if it's worth more than the 10,000 gold that you'd pay to switch professions later at the Statue of Uncertainty. As far as bait goes, I'd stick with the standard bait from the fish shop until you hit level 6 fishing and can start making targeted bait. At that point, periwinkle bait for the freshwater crab pots and mussel bait for saltwater crab pots will minimize trash catches. But otherwise, all the targeted baits should perform pretty similarly. Once you hit level 8 fishing, you can make a deluxe worm bin, which will give you 4 to 5 deluxe bait daily. I wouldn't craft deluxe bait on its own since moss is such a valuable resource in other ways. But once you have access to the deluxe worm bin, it is a consistent free source of the best money-making crab pot bait. So it might be worth that initial investment of 30 moss. At level 10, Angler will get you the most money. At that point, targeted crab bait will be a close second to deluxe bait if you aren't ready to make the moss investment yet, but any targeted bait should do well if you need specific catches for other reasons. My takeaway from all of this is that crab pots can be decent moneymakers and are probably one of the easiest ways to get fast experience in your fishing skill without using up energy. I'm still not sure how I feel about the overall aesthetic. It kind of makes the shorelines look a bit cluttered, especially when they need to be harvested. So with that, what do you guys think? Do you use crab pots regularly? Do you craft or buy them? And if so, where do you set them up? Let me know in the comments if I missed anything cool about the crab pots that make them great. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything new, please give it a like and subscribe, or come say hello to me on Twitch. Until next time, goodbye. What do you mean they're real?